The first murder in history happened between brothers, not between enemies, not between strangers, between two people who grew up in the same home, knew each other their entire lives, had the same parents, the same history, the same starting point. Envy did the rest. After Eden, the world is different. Adam and Eve are outside the garden now. The ground that was once given freely pushes back. Thorns, sweat, labor. The easy intimacy with God that defined life in the garden is gone, replaced by something harder and more distant. They still exist, they still have each other, but everything that was effortless is now work, and they have children. Cain comes first, then Abel. Two boys growing up in the same family, in a world already fallen, already marked by the decision their parents made. Cain becomes a farmer. He works the ground, grows crops, tends the soil his father was cursed to labor in. Abel becomes a shepherd. He keeps flocks, moves with his animals, lives a different kind of life. Two brothers, two ways of living, one family. Then both of them bring an offering to God. Abel brings the firstborn of his flock, and not just any of them, the fat portions. The text is careful about this. Abel gives from the first and the finest. Cain brings fruit from the ground. The text doesn't say he held back deliberately. It just says some of the fruits of the soil. God looks with favor on Abel and his offering. On Cain and his offering, he does not look with favor. That's the whole account. No explanation of why. No detailed breakdown of what was wrong with Cain's offering or what made Abel's better. Just one accepted, one not. This has been debated for thousands of years. Some say it was the quality. Abel gave the best, Cain gave what was available. Some say it was the posture behind it. Abel came with something it cost him. Cain came with what was convenient. Some say it goes back further, to something in who these men already were before they ever brought anything. What we know is this: the difference was real. God saw something, and Cain knew it. Cain is furious. His face falls. The Hebrew is vivid. His countenance drops. The light goes out of his expression. He is not mildly disappointed. He is burning. And here is where the story does something unexpected. God speaks to Cain first, not to Abel, not to comfort the one whose offering was accepted, to Cain, the one who is angry, the one whose face has fallen, the one who is in danger of something the narrator can already see coming. Why are you angry? God asks. Why has your face fallen? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. God is not condemning Cain. He is warning him. He is telling him, what you are feeling right now is a door. And on the other side of that door is something that wants you. The choice is still yours, but you need to know what is waiting. Sin crouching at the door. The image is of an animal, coiled and patient, waiting for the moment the door opens. God tells Cain he can still rule over it. Cain doesn't answer. What happens next is told in almost no words. Cain says to Abel, "Let us go out to the field." That's it. The original text has a gap where the words should be. Some ancient manuscripts try to fill it in, but the oldest versions leave it empty. Cain speaks to his brother. We get silence where the conversation was. They go to the field, and Cain attacks Abel, his brother, and kills him. The first death by violence in human history, and the text refuses to dramatize it. No slow build, no final speech, no confrontation with words that explain everything. Just, they went to the field, and then Abel was dead. Then God comes to Cain. Where is Abel, your brother? The same structure as in the garden, when God came to Adam after the fall. Where are you? Now, where is your brother? He already knows, he always knows, but he asks, because the question is an invitation. A door left open, a moment where something other than denial is still possible. Cain closes it. I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? The first lie after the first murder, and underneath the lie, a question that has echoed through human history ever since. Am I responsible for other people? Is what happens to my brother my concern? Do I owe anyone anything just because we share blood, share history, share a world? God doesn't answer it directly. He lets the ground answer. What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. The earth absorbed what Cain did, and it won't stay quiet. The consequences come. The ground that received Abel's blood will no longer yield its strength to Cain. The farmer who defined himself by working the soil finds the soil closed to him. He will be a wanderer and a fugitive, a restless drifter, the ground beneath his feet never his home again. Cain's response is not defiance. It's something closer to collapse. My punishment is more than I can bear. You have driven me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. There is grief in this. There is fear. The man who just killed his brother is now afraid of being killed. He knows what humans are capable of. He just demonstrated it. And he is terrified of what that means for him, alone and unprotected. And God puts a mark on Cain, not a mark of shame, not a mark that identifies him as a murderer so that justice can find him. A mark of protection. God declares that anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over. The mark is a warning to everyone else. This man is not yours to touch. The first murderer in human history walks away with a sign of divine protection on his body. Cain goes east of Eden to a land called Nod. Nod means wandering, the land of wandering. He ends up exactly where the sentence said he would, in perpetual displacement, no fixed home, no ground that will claim him. And there he builds a city. The first city in the Bible is built by a murderer in exile. Human civilization, with everything it eventually becomes, its architecture and culture and accumulated knowledge, begins not with a golden age of innocence, but with a man trying to construct something permanent after being told he will have no permanence. Trying to make a home when home has been taken from him. Cain and Abel are not just an ancient story about 2 brothers. They are a map of something that happens inside people every day. Someone else gets what you wanted. Someone else's work is recognized, and yours isn't. Someone else is chosen and you are passed over. And in the space between the moment of rejection and what you do next, there is a door, and something is crouching on the other side of it. The story doesn't say Cain was evil from the beginning. It says he got angry. It says his face fell. It says God came to him in that exact moment and said, "The choice is still yours." What makes Cain's story a tragedy is not that he was tempted, everyone is. It's that God warned him directly, here is what is happening inside you. Here is what is budding. Here is that you can still choose differently. And he went to the field anyway. 4 things from Cain and Abel. The first, sin crouching at the door is not yet sin committed. The animal is coiled. The desire is real, but the door is still closed. God's warning to Cain is not a description of what has already happened. It is a description of what is about to happen if nothing changes. The warning itself is the grace. Being told what is waiting is the gift, not the punishment. The second, "Where is your brother?" is asked by someone who already knows. God does not need Cain's answer to find out what happened. He asks for the same reason he asked Adam, "Where are you?" in the garden, because the question is the last open door before the conversation closes. He kept asking even knowing what answer was coming. That's worth sitting with longer than most people do. The third, nobody asks, "Am I my brother's keeper?" about someone they genuinely care about. The question only surfaces when you're looking for permission to stop caring, a way to not have to name what you've already decided. Cain didn't ask it before the murder, he asked it after, standing in a field where his brother's blood was already in the ground, as a way of closing the door God had just tried to open. The fourth, the mark. The first murderer in human history does not receive immediate execution or eternal abandonment. He receives a mark that says, "This man is under my protection." The sentence is hard, wandering, exile, the ground refusing to give, but he walks away alive. Grace does not wait for people to deserve it, and the story of Cain is one of the earliest places the Bible shows this in full. From Cain and Abel begins a long human history of violence between people who should have loved each other. Brothers, sisters, parents and children, neighbors, nations. The pattern Cain started has never really stopped. But something else also starts here. A God who goes looking for the man who just committed the first murder, who warned him before it happened, who let the ground speak and the consequence land, and then marked him, protected him, followed him into the land of wandering. Not because what Cain did was forgivable in any simple sense, because that's what God does with the people who have gone furthest from him. He goes there too.